Hi, this is Priyanka Craig, and for my signature assignment, I researched technology in schools. I focused on the countries England, Australia, and of course the United States. Throughout my research, or while researching, I learned that the issues pertaining to technology was number one, limited professional development for teachers relating to the implementation of technology. Two, unequal access to technology amongst grade levels in schools. Three, the technology's impact on curriculum standards and how it is difficult to assess. The research questions, um, number one is how are the countries England and Australia implementing and funding educational technology in schools? What effective strategies and or practices are they using to make digital technologies successful? How can the United States implement these strategies and practices in their own school? Australia's demographics, there are 25 million people. It is the 55th largest country in the world. The population quadrupled since World War I due to immigration. 30% of Australians were born in another country. 46% had at least one overseas born parent. Common immigration sources are the United Kingdom, New Zealand, China, and India, and Vietnam. Their population is shifting towards an older population with a median age of 37 years. Religion, 30% do not have a religious practice or belief, while 52% practice Christianity. Hinduism, Sikhism, Islam, and Buddhism are all increasing common religious beliefs. In terms of the education system, in 2018, there were over 3 million students enrolled in about almost 10,000 schools. 65% were enrolled in government schools, 19% in Catholic schools, and 14% were enrolled in independent schools. 77% of students participate in pre-primary schools, 97% students participate in primary schools, 85% of students participate in secondary school. England's demographics, the population is 54 million. England accounts for 84% of the UK population. It is the 25th largest country in the world if it is considered independent from the UK. Similar to Australia, the average age is 37 years. The top 5 races for people living in England are white, Asian, black, mixed, Chinese, and other ethnic group. As you can see, religion, 60% Christian, 25% do not have religious practice or belief, 6% are Muslim, 2% are Hindu, and then less than 1% are Sikh, Jewish, Buddhism, or Buddhist or other religion. In terms of the education system, there are 24,000 schools in England. 16,000 are primary schools, 3,000 are secondary schools, 2,000 are independent schools. There are almost 9 million full and part-time students in school. There are 400,000 teachers working in England, with 30% teachers being male and 69% teachers are female, and 82% of teachers in primary schools are female. The average UK primary budget in 2016 was over 1 million euros, which was an increase from the previous year, a 1.6 increase. The average secondary budget in 2016 was over 4 million euros, which was a 0.7 increase from the previous year. As of 2017, there's a total of over 3 million computers in the UK classrooms, over 1 million computers in primary schools, and over 1,800,000 computers in secondary schools. United States population is 329 million. It is the third largest country in the world. In terms of race, we have 76% white, 60% white alone, not Hispanic, 13% Black or African American, 1.3% American Indian and Alaskan Native, 5.8 Asian, and 2.7 two or more races. Education-wise, 8.3 decisions are taken at the state level of government for public lower secondary. 71.9% decisions are taken at the local level of government for public lower secondary education. There are 13,600 public school districts and 98,000 public schools, 6,000, closer to 7,000 charter schools, and 34,000 private schools offering kindergarten or higher grades. There are 56 million students in elementary and secondary schools. 50 million students are in public schools. Out of the 50 million students that are in public schools, 24 million are white students, 14 million are Hispanic, 7 million are Black students, 2.6 million are Asian students, and 0.2 million are Pacific Islander students, 0.5 million are American Indian Alaskan Native students, and 1.6 million students are of 2 or more races. And there are 5.9 million students in private schools. The projected increase between fall 2018 and fall 2027 in public schools is expected to increase to 52.1 million. In terms of expenditures, the current expenditures for public elementary and secondary schools is 654 billion, and the current expenditure per student is projected to 12,000, almost 13,000 for 2018 to 2019 school year. My interpretation: what are the historical, political, social, and economic issues as they affect education? Regarding technology, the use of technology has increased dramatically in each country. Politicians, leaders understand that children need to receive appropriate training in technology. Students need to be able to build connections from digital technology to curriculum standards. Teachers also require more training pertaining to the implementation of technology, and teachers are hesitant to use technology within the classroom, and as a result are hindering student progress in an international setting. And so how does this problem impact the two countries and the United States? Technology plays a dominant role in civic life, work and productivity, communication, and social interactions. And the lack of proper digital education could force students in England, Australia, and the United States to fall behind their international peers and become unsuccessful in a tech-driven world. Juxtaposition: the funding and promoting technology education in schools. How is Australia dealing with this issue? Well, as a part of a 1.1 billion national innovation and science agenda, the Australian government has allocated 64 million to fund STEM initiative under the Inspiring All Australians in Digital Literacy and STEM measure. Additionally, the Australian Digital Technologies Challenge, which is the free online teaching and learning activities, are available to students in years 3 to 8. The digital technology challenges are also online and a part of the classroom resources that are aligned to the Australian curriculum, digital technologies. The challenges are a mix of full and mini digital technology challenges that provide 1 to 2 and 3 and 4 to 5 weeks of lesson activities for teachers. How is England dealing with this issue? Well, the UK government has pledged 78 million euros of funding to teacher computer science to every child in England. The computer maker Raspberry Pi Foundation and STEM Learning and British Computer Society will provide a program for primary and secondary schools, which includes free educational resources, nationwide training, and certification in computer science. And lastly, the U.S. is dealing with this issue. Just now last year in 2018, the U.S. Department of Education has invested $200 million in STEM and computer science education. In total, the department has pledged $279 million in grant funds. Comparison similarities: I found that all three countries are recognizing that funding digital technology within schools is essential for all students. And within 2017 to 2019, all three countries' central government have pledged considerable funds to implement the STEM and computer science within schools. The differences that I've seen is that England will divide the budget between primary and secondary schools to support teacher training and to provide free educational resources nationwide training and certification. The program will be delivered within the next 4 years. However, Australia's ongoing initiative will divide the 64 million funds. 51 million of it will go to the digital age, and 14 million will go to the inspiring STEM literacy. The United States STEM and Computer Science grant will largely focus on assessing technology in schools, but also fund educator training programs and programs such as Gear Up that will increase college enrollment in low-income areas. So, in conclusion, England and Australia can learn from the United States and how to focus on providing equal access to technology to students and promote college to students in low socioeconomic areas. Australia can learn from England on how to divide funding to support students of all ages, not just to students in years 3 through 8. England can learn from Australia on how to designate funds that support specific learning in class support specific learning in-class program activities that align with curriculum and standards. The U.S. can learn from England how to work with the government, educators, advocacy groups, and large and small companies to minimize the educational technology gap. The U.S. can also learn from Australia how to specifically provide digital technology support for primary and secondary students using certain classroom lessons and activities. What are the goals and potential solutions to this problem? The goals, I would say, are for all three countries to continue providing funding to these schools, to enhance teacher, which I think is the most important, enhance teacher training programs, and to continue providing access to technology to all students, and promote and communicate the seriousness of digital technology to students, educators, and the country. Suggestions for future strategies and research along this topic is to continue funding, continue teacher training, and assess if or how increased funding is promoting advancements in digital technology. And here are my references, and that concludes this presentation.